Hello, everybody. This is Miguel Penna with the Southern Florida Concierge Association once again for our monthly Zoom call. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm wearing the sunglasses. Very simple. The future is bright. So bright, in fact, that we are beating 2019 goals. So this is very important because our passenger payloads are up, our hotel occupancies are up, our average daily rate, ADR, is up. Ever since November 8th, and they opened up all international travel, we have seen a resurgence. In fact, we are one of the top 5 cities in the USA to visit from any foreign land. So a lot of things to look forward to. We also have Basel coming up in a couple of weeks. We have John and Liana talking about everything Basel, all the art shows, all the surrounding art shows. They've got some amazing information to share, both in print and electronic. And then last but not least, Ceci is talking about South Beach. Ocean Drive will open once again very soon, right after Basel. So if you have 44 minutes, please join us. And don't forget to sign up to YouTube as well as our SoundCloud so you can watch us at your leisure. Happy Thanksgiving from the Southern Florida Concierge Association. God bless. Hello and welcome to the SFCA podcast. Our goal is to inspire travel. We want to expose you to what Miami and South Florida has to offer. From Key Biscayne to Coconut Grove, South Beach to Calle Ocho and everywhere in between. Miami is a vibrant city and offers a wide array of popular attractions and venues. Come join us. Welcome to our monthly call. It's been a while, a few weeks, to say just a few weeks, but this is probably one of the most important calls that we have every single year. Why? Because you've got Basel just around the corner, the Super Bowl of art, and we've got 2 experts to talk about that. We also have some amazing news from Andrew regarding passenger payloads as well as hotel occupancies and international travel, something we've been looking forward to for many, many months. And it is now finally here. We've seen a resurgence in business. Miami's on the forefront. It was listed as top 5 in the U.S., along with Orlando, San Francisco, Las Vegas, and New York, for places that Europeans would like to travel to if and when they open the borders. And as you know, as the 8th of November, all borders were open. And as soon as those borders opened, all those airline tickets were booked. The airlines are now full. I remember, John, you were coming back from a flight from London, and I think you were probably the only person on the plane besides the staff or the crew. So that was kind of odd. That's not happening anymore. That was an anomaly. Now all the flights are packed and everybody's ready to enjoy South Florida. And let's get started. So right now I'm going to introduce to you John from the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, and we're going to talk about all things art and all things Basel. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Miguel, and good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you this morning. And we're going to kick things right off. We've got a packed itinerary and a lot of good stuff to share with you. And so just as a reminder, my name is John Copeland. I work for the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, specifically on cultural tourism, where I focus on developing programs and raising the global awareness of Miami's arts and culture scene, all with the hopes that when visitors come to Miami, they will take in an arts and culture experience at one of our amazing institutions, one of our incredible events or attractions. And so a couple of things about what I do. So one of the great things that I've produced this fall is a new Arts and Culture Insider. And this is a great little magazine. It comes in a magazine format. You can also find it as a PDF on our website, where we've got some fantastic articles for people to learn a little bit more about what's happening in our neighborhoods, in our arts and culture scene. So I encourage you all to check out the Arts and Culture Insider. And as always, if you'd like any copies for your own reference or at your hotel property, please let me know, and we're happy to send some over. So what's happening right now? Well, currently going on is the American Black Film Festival, celebrating 25 years. And this is now a digital experience based here in Miami. And we're a proud supporter of the American Black Film Festival, and we can't wait for this to come back in person, hopefully next year. Kicking off this past week was the Miami Book Fair happening in downtown Miami. The actual street fair starts on Friday and runs Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this coming weekend. And they have an amazing lineup of authors from around the world, many well-known, recognized celebrities, politicians, smart thought thinkers, all convening here in Miami for the Miami Book Fair. The GMCVB will have a presence there. We're looking forward to supporting it, and we hope you all will come out this weekend to the book fair. And of course, the big news that we're going to talk about today is Art Basel. Art Basel returns to Miami Beach Convention Center December 2 through 4. This is the 19th edition of Art Basel. So we are excited to have them back in person. I actually had the pleasure of going to Art Basel in Switzerland back in September. And let me tell you, the galleries are excited, the buyers are excited to return to the United States, to return to Miami Beach for Art Basel. And this year is going to be a little bit different. So I want to highlight some of those differences for you so you can be aware of what to expect when you come to Art Basel this year. Now, the first thing, and probably one of the most significant things, is the schedule. And so as you can see from the schedule, this is pulled from the Basel site. The fair begins on Tuesday and Wednesday with private days. Now, these private days are by invitation only. So you have to be either a first choice VIP or a preview VIP card holder in order to get into the Tuesday and Wednesday activities at the convention center. But beginning on Thursday, December 2nd, is a public day. So the general public is invited. You can get tickets right now online and plan for your attendance to Art Basel. But most important this year with the schedule is Art Basel will be closed on Sunday. So the final day for Art Basel, Miami Beach at the Convention Center, is on Saturday, December 4th. So the show will wrap up at 6 p.m. this year. A few other things to be very aware of is Art Basel has gone all digital with their tickets. So they're no longer issuing paper tickets. So this is very important for you to make sure you are checking your inbox. If you are one of the first choice or preview VIP card holders, check that spam folder. Make sure you're getting those emails from Art Basel, because the only way to get into Art Basel this year will be through their app, through their digital app with their electronic ticket. The other thing to be aware of this year is they are doing timed entrance. And this means that you actually select the time that you would like to enter the fair. Now, once you're in, you can stay as long as you would like, but they're doing that to control the entry, to control the number of people coming through their ticket kiosk areas at any one particular time. Along with the timed entry, you will actually also need to select the entrance to the convention center you wish to go through, whether that's the east lobby, the west lobby, or the north lobby. So those three entrances to the convention center will be open. You'll select that at the time that you select your tickets, and you'll be able to access the fair. Also, to be aware of is you will need to either produce a negative COVID test or your vaccine card in order to get into the fair. And I believe, I have not heard differently, masks will be required inside of the convention center for Art Basel Miami Beach. So for all information and for the latest, please visit that Art Basel website. They have all of those details on there for you to make sure that all visitors will know what to expect and how to prepare yourself to attend another great edition of Art Basel Miami Beach. So now I'd love to introduce and turn it over to my very good friend, Liana Perez, who is the publisher of Art Circuits. And Liana is going to take us through the new Art Circuits guide. It's beautiful. I have a copy right here. They are being distributed around the community this week, so be on the lookout for Art Circuits. Liana.
Hello, good morning. I'm so happy that at least once a year I can talk to you with good news. So yes, this is the new guide. I hope that you received it already. If not, you're about to receive it. And there are certain things that I would like to show you. One is how many art fairs are we going to have? The only thing that that John didn't told us is that the Art Basel ticket this year is $65, the admission ticket. And our Miami goes with that price as well. But as he said, everything online. So this year we are going to have Art Basel and 13 other art fairs. Those art fairs are basically in Miami Beach, where, as you know, there is Design Miami across the street from Art Basel, and then some by the beach. And there's one that I will tell you to recommend your guests to go that is called Untitled. They have an amazing, amazing show this year. with very incredible curators. But we have 13 and we have one online. The name is Prism. It's the only one that's going to be online this year. So you have everything here in the guide. And there are a couple of things that I believe will be important for you. One is an article written by Carol Damian that highlights the fact that it's a very rare that 6 people that they didn't know each other, 6 different people, are the most important contemporary art collectors in the world. They live here and they have their own museums open to the public. So maybe you know them. One is Rubel, the other one is Margolis, the other one is De la Cruz. But very interesting this year is that Rubel Family Collection is now the Rubel Museum. And they opened a new space in Alapata. They opened it for 2019, but now they have an incredible restaurant. And they also have across the street a space called Super Blue. And Super Blue, it's an immersive experience with art of very, very good quality. So this year, on top of the art fairs, we have other immersive shows downtown and in different places. But the good thing is that these 6 collections are open to the public all year round. During Art Basel Week, it's absolutely free, but all year round, you can send your guests there. There's another article about art in public places because we know that people love a selfie. So there are certain art pieces, certain murals, certain in the port, there are incredible art pieces that people will love to go and see. Well, one of them is in Bar Harbor. Another one that we are looking at is in the street of the Design District. So we have lots of new art in public places. I want to show you this one. This is a folded pool, and it's across the street from our Basel door. So it's a good place. I don't know if you see it, so much light. Here it is. So there's many new things that people didn't see. And during the year of COVID, the artists were working. They have tons of new things to do. And I'm going to put in our chat the link to the guide. So if you have a client and you want to send it to your client, just do it. And they will be able to leave it and read it as a book. I can't wait.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
I will be visiting some of you very soon.
Thank you, Liana. Yes, we will. And again, Liana's book, Art Circuits Guide, is available here online. She's going to put the link in the chat for everybody. Also inside of the Art Circuits book is all of the information you need to know about the Art of Black Miami program. This is a very incredible program organized by the GMCVB with our Multicultural Tourism Development Department. And it's full of activities throughout our community and inside of our diverse, enriched neighborhoods that celebrate the Black art here in our community. So I hope you will check out the Art of Black Miami. And then finally, I want to share with you a new partnership that the GMCVB has with the L Brand Group and with 26 North Productions. We're doing a series of events in hotels and restaurants throughout the community during Miami Art Week to help connect our hotels with the amazing art experiences that are happening throughout the community. So I hope you will check these out. They're happening at places like the Paoli, the Balfour Hotel. We're at the Dunn's Josephine for a wonderful cocktail reception, and special activations at the Clevelander right there on Ocean Drive, Ceci. So we look forward to that event, as well as Chica, a restaurant by the group that that do Yardbird out on Miami Beach. Chica is their restaurant.
50
Yeah, 50 eggs. Thanks, Miguel. And so these are going to be fantastic events. Please check them out. Look for them on social media, and we'll be sharing more information with you about how to sign up for all of these. So with that, thank you so much. Again, if you ever need anything, if you'd like any of our publications, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm easy to find, john@gmcvb.com. Thanks, Miguel.
Excellent, John. Andrew, while you queue up, there is a question from Charlotte Don from Vizcaya. She asked if the fire at the convention center affected anything for Art Basel. You know anything about that?
I do. Yeah, they had a little pop-up fire in one of their chillers on the roof. It was put out immediately. They were doing some repair work at the time. There was actually no disturbance with any activities that were happening. Cruise World was going on this past week there at the convention center, and it went on as normal the next day. So nothing to be worried about there. It was just a little maintenance as they were doing some repair work on one of the air conditioning chillers. So all clear and all moving forward.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So the show still goes on regardless. Excellent. Thank you, John. Thank you, Liana. For all those who just joined us, again, we will be sharing all this information, including Liana's link to the virtual booklet. The booklets are being dispersed. I think they started last week, and they'll continue on. And then also John's whole presentation as well. So certainly there's a lot of information to read through. You'll be getting it, as well as our entire membership. So thank you very much for all of our concierge partners as well. I know that a lot of the all of the circuits, Art Miami, Spectrum, Design Miami, Red Dot, and Art Tech House have already started distributing information electronically as well. So the mantra this year is not apart from your book, there won't be any in-hand items. Everything's going to be electronic, which I think is amazing because now they can actually measure, and there's going to be a whole bunch of analytics of where it went and who used them and so on and so forth. That's pretty cool. Speaking of analytics, next on deck we have Andrew, who's got all this amazing information. Andrew, you want to queue up? Bring yourself on board. We should be ready, and here we go. Take it away.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me, Miguel, once again. I appreciate being invited, everyone, to share the good news. And as everybody here knows us, we are in the good news business, right? And I'm happy to say that I have good news today, as I've had for the past several months. It's looking rosier and rosier. I know that we've already heard about Art Basel and all the excitement that's going on around Art Basel. That's bearing out in the numbers overall. We're seeing a lot of great positive developments here. And honestly, today, I looked for bad information. I looked for bad news, and I didn't find any. So I'm just going to have to just share with you good news. So with that said, let's move in here. I've seen a couple of press releases come across my desk recently. I thought I'd share a few of these with you to give you a background picture of what's going on. Looking at Travelport, they had a press release this past week, actually November 8th. They talk about the flight bookings coming into the U.S. On an international level is about 70% of what it was in 2019. I think that's fantastic news. I also think that Miami is probably outperforming that, as we have with every other metric throughout the year. So as we've heard, we are one of the top destinations being considered. New York, Miami, Los Angeles, Orlando, San Francisco are some of these top areas that have been booked by international. Interestingly, they talked about the most popular date to come to the United States was November 8th, right? So as soon as these things were lifted, people were booking and coming here. So that's just fantastic news. Across the board here, they're saying, according to their booking data, that travelers from the UK are the most excited to get back across the pond, and their booking pace is very high. We're seeing a lot of the same things here in Miami, albeit we do have other markets that are also very excited and very anxious to come back and see us again. I want to share some surveys because we know how much we like surveys. I look at a number of different surveys. We survey a lot here at the Bureau, but we also look at some of that research that's out there. I think it's very good to paint that picture of the overall state of tourism, the overall mindset of the consumer, the traveler, both from a domestic and international perspective. This survey that runs, it's a tracking survey through Engine Group. They track a lot of things about consumer confidence, some of the more current issues that we see going on. And certainly there's a lot of things that are going on out there. I want to touch on some of these really poignant points here, and that the consumer comfort levels for going back to what we would call normal are improving, as they have been all year round. We know that there was a little bit of back in the summer, right around July, with the resurgence of COVID, we did see some behavior start to occur. We did see people saying they were more and more anxious to not necessarily go back to the things that they were doing, but we have since seen that turn around within the past 2 months, particularly. We see that, we've seen some solid improvement over the last month in terms of people saying they're more comfortable going back to arenas, restaurants, movie theaters. While those are positive on the up, I want to point out that while you look at something like movie theater, 50% of people saying that they're anxious and want to go back, they're comfortable. 50% are not, right? That's a compliment of that. So there is still a large chunk of people out there that have a lot of trepidation about going back to some of those things in life. And that would include travel, right? Because we know travel is certainly one of those things that so many of us are anxious to get back out and do. I wanted to point out, while this scale here in the bottom is not necessarily travel related, it paints a picture of what's in our minds right now. I think it's important as we look towards travel. Travel is sort of it's something that we usually plan for the future. So as we look at these present issues going on right now, we certainly have things that are on our mind that may affect how it is that we may decide to travel in the near future. In this survey, the 10-point scale, where 10 meant extremely optimistic and 0 means extremely anxious. And what I saw was a little distressing was that none of these measures were above 5, right? So people are generally not feeling good about some of these things that are going on in our country right now. Again, it's not necessarily travel related, but it is important to put that out there to say, what is our mindset? What's on our minds? How are we going to plan our trips for the future? We do have issues in terms of the economy. I talked about this last month, that there are definitely things coming up with people having concerns about things like getting the things that they need, where they're going to be economically in the future, politics. All these things play a role. I'm not going to talk about politics. I'd love to talk about politics, but that's certainly not the forum to do that. But if somebody says to me, we may not be interested in politics, but politics are interested in us. So moving on to that, we have some traveler studies as well from a domestic perspective. Longwoods Destinations International have been doing a great job tracking consumer behavior and attitudes across the entire pandemic. Both of them tend to say pretty much the same things, but I like to put them together because I think that they both paint a good comprehensive picture of where the traveler's mindset is. We're seeing here that people are feeling more and more confident coming into Thanksgiving. There's a third of travelers that are saying that COVID is not an issue for them when it comes to their travel plans. So that's really great news. As we've been seeing, the confidence has been increasing. Demand is strong. Most of these people that are considered travelers are going to be traveling in the next 6 months. They feel safe going out of their communities. However, one point that was brought up in Longwoods I thought was interesting. About half of Americans are saying that they're not likely to travel internationally yet in the next 12 months. So I thought that to be interesting. So what that's really saying is that we could see some more opportunity here. If people don't want to travel internationally, they're going to be looking domestically, right? So, we are obviously a very international type of destination here in the United States. So, we have certainly capitalized the last year being open and being, sort of that international destination for people. And I think that could happen again this next year with people who are still anxious about going outside this country. They certainly can come and see us. Something else that popped out here on these surveys down towards the bottom here. At first, it didn't really pique my interest, but then when I thought about it, I thought, there is something here. We talk about travel advertising, right? Why is that important, right? Well, I think that they're conveying perceptions and are really getting a sense of where people think that they're at. As it says here, almost 2/3 of American travelers, they're okay with seeing massive people in travel advertisements. So I thought, is that good? Is that bad? Well, it kind of lends to what we've been talking about here, is that there's still a lot of people that are just not comfortable yet about travel. They don't want to think about destinations as places they go where people are not wearing masks or not taking safety precautions. So I want to put that out there, that we've still got a group of people that are still not quite sold yet. This page is always one that we share. I share it every month here. We share it with our stakeholders all the time. It's really a good comprehensive picture of recovery. What we're looking at here are really just demand. This is demand. If we want to understand tourism and get a quick shot at how we're doing from a tourist perspective, they're going to be flying here. They're going to be staying in hotels. They're going to be dining, and they're certainly getting on our cruise ships, right? So that's what we're really looking at. We're looking at this demand. Overall, we've seen just a tremendous improvement. As you can see, these bar charts in the bottom are what we see every day throughout this year. And we've seen this steady return to what we saw in 2019. As we've been talking about, you'll see in a few moments, our air travel is just it's peaked, and it's actually increased over 2019 in more recent days, which is just outstanding. Similarly with hotel, we were selling almost as many rooms as we did 2 years ago, just a little bit of lag still. So very, very encouraging. I think over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see that number potentially improve even more. Dining, we've continually been along and above the waterline, really, 20% more than what we saw 2 years ago. And finally, cruise is not nothing, right? When we think about cruise, we know we've been closed down for a long time. It's not going to be 100% overnight, but we are seeing a steady increase here. We see a pulse going on down there at the port, and we know that that's just going to continue as more and more ships are coming back and making those trips. A quick peek at the last 6 months worth of weekly occupancy and ADR in our hotels. This is as of November 6th. New data comes out today. What we see here, the story here is as a continued story, where we are lagging in occupancy as opposed to where we were 2 years ago. Part of that is because of a decreased demand, as I talked about, but also because we still have lots of inventory that's been added and continually is coming online, right? So when you think about the pandemic and how we've seen this economic downturn, at least in the short term, that has not stopped hoteliers from opening up hotels, right? That has not stopped hoteliers from planning new hotels in the future. So I think that really speaks to the resilience of our industry and the fact that we are, from an investor standpoint, as Miguel, as you mentioned, we are in the sights of a lot of investors. I do get regular inquiries about information about Miami because we have people out there who are investors and looking across the country and they're looking at markets, right? Where can we go? Well, Miami is obviously one of those markets that's hot. Looking at our ADR, we are still above 2019, right? So that enthusiasm, that desire, and willingness to pay more for a hotel room than they ever have, quite honestly, in Miami continues to unfold. Just a quick peek, I'm not going to go through all of this, but if you're really wanting to understand about occupancy, room rate, and RevPAR, both within segments of Miami-Dade as well as our neighbors to north and south, you'll see here, this is our chart as of most recently. The takeaway here is that, yes, we're still lagging in occupancy across most areas, but our ADRs are, once again, just absolutely off the charts. I want to point out Surfside, Bal Harbour in particular, because that's just one that blows our mind every week when the numbers come in. While they're also lagging probably out of the entire county, they're lagging the most in occupancy. Well, their ADR are through the roof. We're looking here that their ADRs are almost 100% higher than they were 2 years ago, which is just hard to comprehend, right? But that really speaks to the traveler here who is really not concerned about the price. They want to travel, they want to stay in a nice place, and they want to have the experience that Miami is offering. So therefore, they're willing to charge a premium. So that is great news. That does speak, once again, to the resilience of our industry. And of course, looking at our industry and looking at those other people that we compete with, looking at those top hotel markets, this is where we're ranking for year to date as of through September. And we can see here that in terms of rooms sold, we are number 10. These are the top 25 markets if you want to get technical, but we are in the top 10 in terms of rooms sold. Places like Orlando, Los Angeles, they have a lot more hotel inventory, so obviously they're going to sell more rooms. But we are still selling a lot of rooms. Looking at ADR, as I mentioned, look where we're at with ADR. We are technically number 2. But truthfully, we're tied, right? $1.50. I'm not going to argue over $1.50, but we are essentially up there with Oahu Island in terms of top ADR of top hotel markets. So once again, it's no wonder that investors are looking at us to say, where can we put a hotel that's getting the most money? Well, I'd say it's here in Miami. So these numbers here I'm going to share with you have not been shared yet, right? So if you've come here, you're hearing it here first. But here at the Bureau, we look very hard and try to come up with the most accurate numbers in terms of visitor volume. These aren't just people coming in the airport. These are people that are coming in the airport and staying here in our market. These are people that are driving here. These are people that are coming here for the day. These are people here that are coming here and staying overnight. And what we can see here is that, yes, in Q1 of this year, we were lagging, certainly from 2019. But look at Q2 and Q3. We actually did beat out our numbers in terms of overall total tourism in Q2 and Q3 by over 2% each of these quarters, which is just amazing, right? For the year, we're still down about 6%, but I think coming into this fourth quarter, I dare say that we're going to probably see similar performance as we have for the last couple of quarters, and we are going to come close based upon all our data here. We're going to come close to making where we were at in 2019, which I want to say was a record year, right? So forgive me for my enthusiasm, but it's really hard not to be enthusiastic when you see these types of numbers. If you want to look at the breakdown of where these, what this volume looks like and where and what segments they're coming from, it's domestic, mostly domestic as we can see, but international is going to be obviously improving as we see it. You're looking at Q3 for international, we were down 18%. And some people might say to themselves, well, that doesn't seem right. We were down a lot more than that. Well, that's not necessarily true because we forget sometimes when we keep talking about international markets and people keep saying over and over again, oh, there's no international, can't wait till they come back. Well, there has always been international people here, folks. We have people coming from Colombia, Ecuador, Argentina, these other areas that have essentially not really been closed. They've been coming here the whole time. Places in the Caribbean, they've come here and for any number of reasons. So, their visitation has actually been pretty strong overall. We've had some markets in particular that have always been strong. One that sticks out for me, I'll just mention briefly, is the Dominican Republic. every destination across the country in 2020 was reporting decreases in their feeder markets, coming in their markets. And we were too, except for one. And believe it or not, that was the Dominican Republic. Now, they don't contribute as much volume as other markets here in Miami. However, they had increased year over year, which was amazing. So that speaks to the resilience, again, of our industry. And maybe because, we thought about this a lot before we published these numbers last year, and I mentioned this a couple pages ago, but being a destination in the United States that was open, people from the Dominican Republic obviously go to other places, but where would they have gone this last year that they couldn't go? Everybody knows it's New York, right? So if they couldn't go to New York, where else were they going to go? And I think they came here to Miami instead. Again, touching on the cruise industry, we are in recovery. Yes, we're not really where we were at with other metrics, but we can see here that we are improving, and there's a lot of hope there on the horizon. If we look at the average number of daily passengers over there at Port Miami, we see while it is pretty low, it is increasing steadily all the way up through October. We see the reason why is that the restart schedule on the bottom. Forgive me if this restart schedule is not completely updated, it's changing all the time. But generally speaking, we can say that there's been a lot more activity going on there recently. Virgin back online again, actually not back online again, I should say, for their very first voyages coming out of MIA. So here we are looking towards the end of the year. It's looking pretty good. Looking forward to next month or whenever it is you ask me to come back to share some more positive numbers. Let's take a look at this. I think I pulled this information. This is some really interesting international information that you can share. If we want to understand momentum and who's really interested here in Miami, we can look at the number of airline tickets sold to MIA from our top destinations. And so all the way over on the left is a column that shows our 2019 visitor rank. These are, once again, our actual visitors to Miami. I shared the rank, and then in the next column there, the country, I ranked in terms of the number of tickets they have purchased through travel agencies for the upcoming 6 months of travel coming into MIA. And number one, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Canada, in terms of order of ranking of tickets purchased through travel agencies. But what's interesting is if you look on the left-hand side, that's not the same ranking that we've had in terms of our visitor markets, right? So Argentina sort of pushed to the front of the line with their enthusiasm of purchasing tickets through travel agencies once again into our market. Brazil, Colombia, again, are in the top three. But just some interesting momentum and really bears out if you look at those two columns in the far right. And these are the number of tickets that were sold just in September and just in October, right? So why is that important? Because we know when the announcements were made to come back to the United States, looking at the number of tickets that were sold, holy smokes, look at September to October. Some of these markets doubled and tripled in terms of the number of tickets that were sold. Even a market like France, it's not a really big contributor to tourism in Miami, went from 800 tickets sold in September to over 3,000. That's over a 300% increase. So there's definitely a lot of momentum coming from our top markets. It's very exciting, and I can't wait to look at November because I think November is really going to be off the charts. I've shared this before. This is our future air travel booking pace. Once again, it continues to improve. That solid line is what we've seen most recently in terms of pace. That dotted line is from a month prior. And we can see that we are continually improving on a domestic level. We've actually seen that for short-term bookings, we are almost, from a domestic perspective, back up to where we were in 2019. With international, yeah, it's down. It's still down, but we do also see that improvement going on. Looking at hotel, this is really positive news on the hotel industry. And what we see here is that if you look on the far left, you look at those color lines and those arrows, that blue arrow represents what the pacing was as of September 26th for bookings between November and April. And what we saw and what we've seen over the last couple of weeks is that pace drops in the short term, but then look how it increases further out. What that really speaks to is that people are no longer booking as short term as they were during the pandemic. Understand that most booking actually does not occur overnight, right? When you plan a vacation, you're planning usually for a month to 2 months or more out further. So throughout the pandemic, we saw these booking windows very short. So if you look at the left-hand side there, you would have seen those lines increasing as, in the short term and potentially decreasing. But in this case, we're going the other direction. And what that's saying is that people are more and more and more booking their travel further and further out, right? So that's really great news. We have continued to climb week after week after week, and I expect that to continue. If you want to look at Airbnb, we have some data on future Airbnb bookings as well. That's also getting pretty fat further out. Albeit, this pace has sort of slowed down across the board. You can see that it's still strong. It's still strong further out. So we're really anticipating, strong performance from both from the short-term rental market as well as the hotel market for the next 6 months. I was asked to do some projections. It's funny, Miguel, you sent your email yesterday, and I said, oh, shoot, I forgot to put my projection together. So I got my projection together, and what we've done here is put together some stuff here to look at what these next 5 weeks are going to look like in terms of projected hotel occupancy. I'm looking at it from a weekly perspective, a weekday and a weekend, because they are quite different. We're looking at the county as a whole, as well as Miami Beach, since we know there are certain things going on that are very exciting in Miami Beach. So what we're seeing here is that these weekends are really fattening up. Looking at the week of Art Basel, and I want to say these are very conservative, right? I don't want to go over the mark, but it looks to me like we're going to be doing very well on an occupancy perspective across the county, but really particularly in Miami Beach for Art Basel. So it sort of echoes to what John has been saying. Art Basel, there's a lot of excitement, and there's certainly a lot of activity going on during that time. STR came out with their forecast last week on hotel performance. What they're saying that basically by the end of this year, we are going to net out with a lower occupancy than 2019. That's not a surprise. Part of that is because of our supply. I'd say that half of that decrease comes from our increased supply, and the other half from a decreased demand. But from an ADR perspective, as we understand, ADRs have been really, really, really strong. STR is saying we're going to end up about almost 11% higher than we were in 2019. I'm looking ahead through the next 4 quarters, 2022. It's a positive story. However, interestingly, because I've gotten a lot of questions recently from people, I've spoken with some of our partners. I actually talked a lot to Expedia. They're a very good partner of our organization, and we share information about what we're seeing. And there's been some concern about what that will look like in Q2, Q3. Everybody knows that Q1 is going to be really strong this year. There's very little doubt that it's not going to be a great quarter. Q2 and Q3, well, we've looked at this, and it looks like Q2 is softening a little bit for next year. But really, when you think about it, it's really not, because look what happened this Q2 in 2021. We had a just red hot Q2 in 2021. So if we're going to be comparing changes year over year, well, occupancy is still going to be on par, according to STR. Maybe room rate, RevPAR down a little bit. But understand there's one more component that we're going to have to layer in here, and that is the return of our international markets, right? So that becomes summer for some of our international markets. I'm looking forward. I think that we're going to see some pretty strong performance once again, and very potentially higher than what STR has been saying, just like they've been saying all year long, and they've been wrong. So a little piece of press, another piece of press that came out on Local 10 News here. What they're saying is that, yep, it looks like this weekend is going to be shaping up, and this next weekend shaping up to be a fantastic weekend. Record number of travelers coming into MIA, and even at Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale is an important airport for all of us. For Miami, that is a significant feeder market in terms of visitors to Miami-Dade County. I dare say they're about 20%. There's a lot of people coming through the Fort Lauderdale airport that are coming into our market as well. So they're also going back to a level of passenger volume that was in 2019. But I do want to point out, and I did mention this last month, is that we've had some concerns about employment. The leisure and hospitality employment has not really grown over the last 4 or 5 months. It has remained stagnant. So as so many of us know, there's a lot of pain going on here with getting employees, and hopefully that will not be an issue for this upcoming holiday weekend. But we are a little short-staffed out there. So it is something to think about as we move forward, that there could be some pain points out there. We also know between staffing, we also know that the airlines have had some difficulties recently with their staffing. So let's hope it doesn't create a bottleneck like we've seen more recently. But overall, at least they're looking ahead and they're planning for it. Finally, I want to share that this morning at 8:30 in the morning, these numbers came in, and I had to quickly go back and throw them in this presentation. They're literally hot off the presses. So there you go, folks. This is a projected activity going on at MIA for the next 12 days. So this is outstanding information. What we're seeing here is the airport itself is projecting really, really solid passenger traffic all the way through the holiday, all the way up until Art Basel. So this is really great news. We're seeing anywhere from an 8% to a 14% increase in volume of traffic coming in through MIA. So that's just phenomenal. That's going to make my index go way over 100. I'm very happy about that. It's always great to share when the index is over 100. So anyway, that's really about it. It's good news. I want to wrap up with a couple points here that if you're taking anything away from this presentation today, it's optimism continues to grow. That continues to grow on an international basis, a domestic basis. But I still, as I pointed out, it's not necessarily where it was before, right? It's not quite there yet, but people are coming around. It looks like to Miami, we're just doing, it's becoming fully operational, where the engine is hitting on almost all cylinders, right? Our meetings are coming back, travel, business, cruising. These other international markets, as I've mentioned, are coming back online. Once again, the return to European markets, it's welcome, it's fortuitous. We're looking forward to seeing how they're going to be traveling here in the next 6 months. And finally, I just want to say, enjoy your Thanksgiving. We should all be very grateful for our prosperity, be grateful that we live in such a fantastic area. And not only that, but, in terms of the tourism industry, as we say here at the Bureau, the tourism is everybody's business, right? That's everybody's business. So when tourism benefits, so do we. And, there's just a great story to be told out there. Thank you, folks. For those of you folks on here that are helping to make this a success, we thank you. You are a part of that success, whether you're a hotelier, a restaurateur, a small business owner, and even that extends to our local politicians and our state politicians that have really fought hard to make sure to keep the lights on and keep people coming here. So I'll wrap up with that. Thank you.
Great stuff, Andrew. Thank you very much. We do have a few questions. I believe one of them were answered from an anonymous attendee. Is there any chance our latest hotel forecast for Miami for 2022? I think you briefly touched on that towards the end of your presentation.
I did.
Thank you very much. We'll have more information in the next call next month. And then Charlotte Dunn from Biscaya asked, the Florida residents, is it a subset of the domestic number or are they separate?
They are separate. In this case, they're mutually exclusive.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Any other questions for Andrew, anyone from the group? No? Good stuff. We still have the same number we started with, so that no drop-offs. Now we move on to Ceci, everything South Beach. What's going on in the wonderful world of Miami Beach, in particular South Beach? How are things going, Ceci?
Well, today is the grand opening of the Esme Hotel, which is the old historic clay hotel on the south side of Espanola Way. So that's exciting. The Gabriel just had their grand opening. I will tell you, Washington Avenue, Collins, Ocean Drive, that area is really quickly becoming more of a downtown area. The Washington, where Harrods, that building, it's going to be renovated and they have plans to make that a hotel with some other things going on. So there is a lot of investment. The News Cafe is going to reopen again under Goldman Properties, which I'm really excited about. It's it's the V&E restaurant group that's going to take over that. And I heard the Lario's building that has been on the market is now contemplating to bring in another food and beverage and be in a tenant kind of situation. So we may see that Lario's activated as well. The Pelican Hotel is reopening. The owner was just here from Italy. He owns Diesel. So he's the Diesel, entrepreneur. And he was just in town to look at his property. So on Ocean Drive, we're going to have the Pelican reopening, Lario's coming online, the News Cafe, the Gabriel just opened. So the whole thing is really going to explode with culinary. I see more culinary. As you know, the 2 a.m. rollback for the city of Miami Beach with exemptions was passed, but it was a straw poll. Last night, we got 2 more additional city commissioners. Kristen Rosen Gonzalez is back as a city commissioner and Alex Fernandez. So we have a new commission coming on board. We don't know exactly what that legislation is going to look like to roll some places back to 2 a.m. What are the exemptions? What are they going to look like? There's a process that's going to come into play. I'm very excited because on the north side of Ocean Drive, we have the old Bancroft Hotel, which is going to be office space, right? It's office in a club membership, like think Soho House, but office space, right? With access to the beach. Very high end, very nice around the Il Bellagio and the 1500 and the Bancroft Hotel. So that whole place is really starting to come into its own. And, we heard earlier, there are people who are wanting to invest, and investing in a historic property is a very special endeavor, right? That we're looking forward to Basel. We're very happy that nothing happened to the convention center, right?
Cool. Anything going on for Thanksgiving or the holidays on Ocean Drive? And also very important, I wanted to follow up with you on what happened with the transformation of Washington Avenue, making it for bikers and so on and so forth. How's that coming along?
So they're still looking at the whole traffic pattern, the parking in the middle of the street. The buffer was supposed to be for parklets. A lot of these restaurants didn't subscribe to the parklet situation. So they are re-looking at Washington Avenue because they're also going to reintroduce traffic to Ocean Drive. That's going to happen hopefully after Art Basel. They still are going to the cafes that are into the middle of the street. That was only done under emergency COVID orders. So they're going to go back to their original sidewalk cafe footprint with the option of having a parklet. We're all in the process of that. Then restriping and then having traffic going south from 15th to 5th south, one lane of traffic. So I think as they're looking at Ocean Drive and how that's going to work with one lane of traffic going south, opening the side streets, looking at how that kind of depressurizes a little bit Collins Avenue, that's taken a lot of the congestion on both sides. They're going to also re-look at Washington Avenue. That's definitely on the radar and on the agenda. Don't know exactly how it's going to end up, but they are definitely going to re-look at it.
Okay, cool. Because I know Collins Avenue is a little bit tedious now. It's regardless of the time of day or the day of the week, it's a little bit tough getting up and down Collins. So just to recap, Ocean Drive is only going to be one way, south to north, from 15th all the way down to 5th.
From north to south.
North to south.
Yeah, 15th to 5th.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And there's reasons for that. A lot of people are not understanding why it's not going north from 5th to 15th, but the backup on 5th Street, which is one of our principal streets to get in to Miami Beach, it would be too really challenging and for life safety purposes, et cetera. So it's definitely going from north, south, 15th to 5th. And they're looking at making it a little bit more of a plaza from 14th to 15th and maybe not doing traffic all the way to 15th. They're looking at a lot of these feasibilities, but for sure, they're going to reintroduce one lane of traffic going south, and it will happen prior to the end of the year. Although I do have my special event permit in, and we are going to do fireworks and New Year's Eve on Ocean Drive, as we always have traditionally done it. So we're looking at a really wonderful.
Cool. Now, are the side street arteries going to open as well, or is it just 15th all the way to 5th? So all of the streets will be open. They'll remove the barricades and things will get to somewhat normal.
Right. And we're looking at, Uber Lyft spots, valet on the side streets, not just going back to whatever, just as we move forward, careful thought and consideration to how those businesses work, because every single block on Ocean Drive is different. And there were corresponding Collins side, right? How does that come into play? Some of the Clevelander owns the Essex House on the Collins side, but some of these places don't. So how is the entire thing going to work? Everybody's putting their best thoughts forward and trying to get, and we're still working with Bernard Ziskovich on the bigger vision for the geo bond and the $20 million that they have set aside in order to repave and do beautiful things to Ocean Drive. That's further down. This is a pilot for the next few years until they get to the point where they're going to break ground and implement a huge vision.
Cool. So a lot of great things happening. Thank you very much, Ceci, for the update. One quick update from Mark Nedlin from the South Florida Symphony. There'll be a tree lighting tomorrow night. Hold on, I'm missing my point. Here we go. Tonight, there'll be a tree lighting in Bay Harbor, 9700 Collins Avenue, Founders Circle. So if any of you want to partake in that, New York has a nice tree, but I think we have a lot better ones, and they're actually tropical. So that'd be fun. Next month, set your calendar now, December 15th, we have on deck the Miami DDA, the Downtown Development Authority. We're going to be talking about the new Waldorf Astoria development, the Flagler revitalization, what's going on at Bayside Marketplace, and also talk about all those businesses that are now considering making South Florida and Miami home. There's rumors that Wall Street is moving south. So we will certainly talk about that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, John, Liana, Andrew, Ceci. Thank you, everyone. I leave you with these thoughts. Again, as Andrew said, it's a time of giving thanks, but it's also time for giving. So please don't forget those that are less needy. Some of us came through this very well. Some of us didn't come through this not so well. And we all need to bridge together as a community and help each other out. That's the only way that we'll get through this. And again, stay safe, vaccinate if you choose to, but definitely mask up. Until next time, thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Hello, and welcome to the SFCA podcast. Our goal is to inspire travel. We want to expose you to what Miami and South Florida has to offer. From Key Biscayne to Coconut Grove, South Beach to Calle Ocho, and everywhere in between. Miami is a vibrant city and offers a wide array of popular attractions and venues. Come join us.